Welcome to Bookmas Day 6. Obviously I am in the midst of getting ready and I just thought that we'd have a very casual day together. I need to do a lot of like admin-y stuff today with the channel, and we have some books from November that we need to go over. I have to redo my Notion for December, do some clearing out of a lot of stuff, and I also need to start figuring out what I'm going to be doing for next year. So I figured that today would just be a day where we get our lives back together. This vlog actually has to go up today, so I'm a little behind in terms of filming, but it actually hasn't been going too bad. I was expecting for this to be a lot more stressful. Luckily, I'm in a position where my work schedule isn't too crazy, and you know, Sam is very supportive of my YouTube endeavor, and so I'm really lucky that I get to spend a lot of time focusing on this rather than it being me trying to juggle it with a lot of other stuff. I'm gonna tackle my Notion first, I think, because it's already the 6th and I haven't been updating any of it. And if I don't update my Notion as I'm reading books, I will literally forget the books that I've read. I'm going to clean up a little bit because it's a little crazy in the room right now, and then I'll show you what I'm doing with my Notion. Okay, so I may have done a bad thing. I mean, you guys probably would have seen by now because the clip would have already happened, but oh, sorry that the lighting is awful when I'm down here. Rather than focusing wholeheartedly on my Notion, I did the December Notion page, and then I got lost in reading. I mean, it's obviously not bad. The whole point of the channel is to read. It's not what I was trying to do today. I've been sucked into this book. It is the 3rd book in the Lucy Score Knock 'Em Out series, and I didn't even love the first book that much. I think I gave it a 4, and we read it at a time that like our reading was kind of funky because we were staying at someone else's house, and I didn't really get to fully enjoy it, but I just read the 2nd one, and now I'm in the middle of the 3rd one, and I have just devoured that series ever since. You know, the found family of it and just the way that they react to things, like they're funny, and I love a romance that is like genuinely funny, not like cringy rom-com-y funny, but like a lot of snarky responses and like out-of-pocket comments. I always find that's like my bread and butter when it comes to like romance stuff, so that's what's in this, like a lot of like jabs and stuff like that, which are just making me laugh. I rated the last book a 4.5, and now this one is getting better. At first I was thinking it was going to be my least favorite, but it's taken a turn, so I don't know how I feel about it yet, but it is sucking me in for sure. And I went into a reading extravaganza instead of doing what I'm supposed to do. So now I've decided, because I need to get this done, except I need to figure out lighting, so hold on. I'm back with lighting and battery because I'm sure my battery's gonna die during this conversation. And also I look crazy. I did not get ready at all because I'm not going anywhere today, and normally I get like a little ready for videos, but I just felt like we're closer than that. You know, I don't need to get all dolled up for you guys. You understand. I figured that I would talk about the books that I read in November because I never did a formal like November wrap up. I'm not gonna get like too deep into like stats or anything like that because I honestly read so many books on KU or audiobooks that I don't know all of the like page numbers and stuff like that. So I'm just not gonna do any of those stats. Once we started reading books that we don't physically have, it's hard to get like the accurate page count and everything because there's so many different editions and like bonus content and whatever that I'm just not gonna mess with the stats for now. I'm just going into the books that we read in November. We started off with Hellbent. This is by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second after Ninth House, and I love this author's writing style. I thought the dark academia vibes was originally not something I was going to be into, and then I have since become obsessed with it because I see it more as like atmospheric and cozy, and so I've been really enjoying it. I'm gonna get my phone so I can tell you what I rate these books. I ended up rating Hellbent a 4.25. We started to feel like it was getting a little slow in certain aspects, and then the ending was kind of frustrating. Not to give anything away, but we went into it thinking that it was a duology, and it's not. The way that we were preparing for the ending to be was solved like 3/4 of the way through the book. I don't know, I just kind of felt like it didn't need to keep going. I don't know, there were just certain things about it that I just felt like were unnecessary. You know when like a book or even like a series or something like that like just starts to get dragged on for too long, that you just start to get bored because it's like, okay, this all just doesn't seem as important as everything originally was. That's kind of how I felt about it. So we gave it a 4.25. Then I went into a little bit of a deep dive with Never After like series by, no, not Christina Henry, so it's Emily McIntyre, I think is the name. We did Scarred and Wretched. It's retellings or like fractured fairy tales, so they're like roughly based off of like specific either like Disney movies or fairy tales, like childhood stories, stuff like that. And they just have like a lot of these like fun references or like Easter eggs and things like that that you can follow along with while you're reading the story. It made it fun, especially because they're dark romances and we don't really read dark romances. They were really nice to be able to ease our way in. Scarred is roughly about the Lion King, and then Wretched was following loosely, I think it was supposed to be The Wizard of Oz, but it was pretty like loose. I would say that Wretched was my least favorite. I gave that one a 3.5, and then I gave Scarred a 4.5 because I really liked it. It just felt like closest because it's like following royalty, so I really enjoyed it the most. Then we jumped into Throne of Secrets. This was the second book in the Throne of the Fallen series. It's following the Princess of Sin. There was a YA, which I wouldn't necessarily call it YA because it's kind of inappropriate, but YA series that was following one of the brothers, and then the author has since went into new adult, and that's where the Throne of the Fallen and Throne of Secrets series is living, but it is all in the same world. We went into this and went really like back and forth on the rating because in the beginning we weren't as obsessed with it as Throne of the Fallen, but there's just something about Carrie Maniscalco's writing that just, it is so like, it's become so nostalgic for me and has turned into such like an atmospheric read and has become such a big thing between me and my fiance's sister who also reads, and so we just all have grown attached to her writing. And so I rated it a 5 because I just felt like I was on cloud 9 while I was reading it. I definitely think I liked Throne of the Fallen more, which I also rated a 5, but that was following another Prince of Sin like I was saying, and yeah, we really enjoyed it, rated it a 5. After that we dipped into the Binding 13 world. That has been one of the series that we have thought about for a really long time because again, it's like really popular. It's like kids in high school, male main character. His name is Johnny and he is a rugby player. He's a little bit older than the female character Shannon, and they just have dark stuff going on in their lives and trouble and high school, found family, friend, their romance, a lot going on. We rated Binding 13 and then Keeping 13 also 5s because we just blew through those books, and it was definitely one of those moments where we felt like that true pull of a book where like I couldn't stop reading it, and I just felt like it was the perfect mix of adult topics with like a young and in love feeling. I just really enjoyed it. After that we get to Twisted, which is another book in the Never After series, again by Emily McIntyre. This one was roughly following like the Jasmine story. They were dealing with diamonds and like the black market and like dark underground dealings, trading guns and stuff like that. It was like that kind of scene. And the main character, Julian, is supposed to be like after, I think his name is Jafar, and that was really interesting. We ended up giving it a 4, which was still pretty good, but I just felt like their connection was kind of lacking in certain aspects, and that was kind of my issue, that I felt like it was a little insta-lovey, a little too heavy on the attraction side of things. That was my only real complaint about it, but otherwise flew right through it, and it was really good to listen to it. Audiobook, I just felt like it was a good, I never got bored or like caught myself not paying attention. After that, we went into Lost Boy. This is by Christina Henry, and it is a Peter Pan retelling. It's supposed to be the backstory of Peter Pan with Captain Hook and how Captain Hook came to be, who Captain Hook really was, how they started off as friends, and everything that happened. And it painted a very, very different view of Peter Pan himself, and that he's not a good boy and he's bad and awful, which was really, really interesting. The only issue that I have with Christina Henry's books is that they're pretty hard to get through sometimes. They're a little slow. They're pretty, not mundane, but just like slow. And I really have to be in the mindset that I'm going to be reading it for the atmosphere, the storytelling, not necessarily for like crazy plot lines and plot twists and everything like that. It's definitely like a lull of a read. I still enjoy the different like aspects of the retellings, and I definitely enjoy like a different twist. I love a lot of the stories that these books are retelling in general, but I gave it a 3.5, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then the last book that we read for November was Nightbane. This is by Alex Astor and is the second book in the Lightlark series. We really enjoyed this book. I gave Lightlark originally a 4.25, so I gave Nightbane a 4 because I liked it a little bit less than Lightlark. I felt like it was a little slower, and that was my only issue. And it kind of just left me with that feeling of like, ugh, because of the love triangle that's in it. I don't know, I'm just not the biggest fan of love triangles, and not even just that. This one, even though there's a good reason for it, I just feel like it's gonna be a lose-lose. Like no matter who she picks, I'm still gonna feel like, ugh, no matter, even if she picks the one I want, I just feel like it's gonna suck regardless, just because like the way that the story works and the world works and everything like that. Those are the books that we read in November. We read 9 books, and I feel like it was overall a pretty successful month. We didn't have anything below a 3.5, and we had 3 5s in a row, so definitely successful. But yeah, that is my little November wrap up. Now I'm going to be cleaning up this corner because like I said, it is getting kind of crazy. I just feel like I can't get cozy in a space that feels this messy. And if you've watched my channel, I've talked about this before, or you could literally see my background. We have a fridge, we have a coffee station, like our coffee makers are on top of our clothes. We're using every square inch in this room because we live with family and we have a lot of stuff, and so every square centimeter is used. Having a corner of doom is definitely not acceptable, so I'm going to probably listen to the book that I was spacing out reading earlier and try to clean this up a little bit, because I just cannot read in this environment. I can't focus if I feel like at any second this cart is going to crumble into a pile of messy books.